Look at Tiger Woods, for instance, in 2001. Guy was massive, and he's definitely flexible enough to swing a golf club. Right, let's go. Welcome back to another video. So this one's going to be answering the questions that I put on my golf Instagram yesterday, asking for golf related fitness questions. So I'm going to get into them all now. I've got quite a lot to get through, so let's get into this. Let's get into it. That's my new saying. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So most of these are golf related, and there are actually quite a lot, so we're going to get through them, try and get to the point of each one. A lot of them kind of cross over, so for the ones that cross over, obviously try and summarize them all. Other thing to add as well, a lot of these questions are going to be distance related, so if you are interested in hitting the golf ball further and actually getting off your ass this winter and getting into the gym and actually putting some work in, I feel like this could be quite helpful. Louis Broomfield, best stretch for the lats. Mine are Louis. Right, so the lats, just, I can't really show you in here. I would be like showing you outside, but it's pissing it down with rain, so that's why we're in the car. So the lats work to bring the elbows down, right, or the arms down, so in front to the side. That's why you do like lat pull downs and straight arm pull downs as well. Now you stretch the lats by moving them in the opposite direction, so you can do something as easy as putting your hands on the top of a doorway and just like leaning through. I feel like the best lat stretch is the one where you're on your knees and there's a chair in front of you, so you get both your elbows over the chair and just lean forward into it, and you'll feel the stretching the lats straight away. It's actually a really relevant question for the golf swing, because the lats or lat mobility is important in getting into decent positions at the top of the backswing, notably trying to get high hands. If you haven't got flexible lats, you'll struggle to get your hands in a high position, if you want to get high hands, that is, and generate some speed. Ellis Miles Thomas, which muscles should you work for power in the golf swing? So I would never recommend working a particular or specific muscle group only for generating power in the golf swing. You've got to work all muscle groups evenly, otherwise you generate imbalances, which can lead to injury. But it's commonly known that the posterior chain is probably the most important set of muscles for generating power in the golf swing. So anything that's keeping you standing, basically, which is lower back, glutes, hamstrings, some muscles in your upper back as well. So the posterior chain, and this is worked through, you know, like deadlifts, any pulling movements as well as glute specific stuff. But yes, you should definitely always work all muscle groups just to avoid imbalances. Craig, so many Craigs at the moment. Craigurge88, is there specific ab work you do for golf? No, mate, to be honest, I don't really do specific ab workouts or sessions. I tend to get my ab training as a result of training through the big lifts. So I don't feel that anything works your core better than doing heavy deads, squats, the big compound exercises that require core stability. You're loading, because imagine doing a deadlift. I mean, the target muscle groups for deadlift are obviously hamstrings, glutes, lower back. But in order for your back to go from that position to that position, your core has to work really hard. And you think about it in a squat as well. So you start in this position. When you're lowering, your spinal cord goes to here. Your core is responsible for you actually maintaining this position. Right, your legs are obviously doing the lifting. Your core's keeping your body stabilized in this position. So the loads that you can get through those lifts on the core, I feel like are the best. I don't really feel like anything, you know, needs to be done in terms of like crunches and stuff. They just don't hit it as hard, in my opinion. Alex Bolton 212, he was in the 212. Right, this is my mate Alex. Top 3 exercises to improve core stability. Again, that pretty much answers it. A lot of the core ones are going to be answered through this as well, but top 3 exercises: squat, deadlift. Also hyperextensions, really good for core stability because you're working your lower back. Hyperextensions, if you don't know what they are, have a look. Luca, a lot of these are cut off, so I can't get all your name. Luca Vanta C ... I won't presume it's what I think it is. Exercises for faster lower body. So faster lower body is going to come from firstly strengthening your lower body, and then get it moving fast as well. So I'd focus on the general, you know, lower body lifts, squats, walking lunges, Romanian deadlifts, leg press, maybe even isolate it as well. Just build a very strong lower body, and then you can start to add in some plyometrics, which I feel like converts the strength into specific speed and power. So you can do sprints, and then you can do plyometrics such as box jumps, depth drops, etc. I can't believe I just said etc. Apologies. Jonathan Whelan, I think is Whelan. Do you recommend specific golf exercises or stick to the basic lifts such as bench, deadlift and squat? So I don't know what you mean by specific golf exercises. I can imagine what you mean, like rolling around on a medicine ball doing core stability, where you like, you know, jumping about, which is what you used to see on the Golf Channel, like if you ever watched that like 20 years ago. And here's the golf fitness section, and then this guy's like lying on a medicine ball and he's rolling a 1 kilo dumbbell. And it's like, yes, it's going to be really helpful in the golf swing. Like, it's really not, you know, that stuff can come in helpful for things like rehab, but the golf swing is a powerful movement, and it happens, the downswing happens in, you know, like less than a second. It's not a slow movement performed like by rolling around. Like, the muscles fire hard. So yeah, that's kind of what I get from your golf specific exercises. So sticking to the basic lifts, I would say, is the core to any athletic training, for most athletic training even. So yeah, bench, deadlift, squat, stick them in. Always got to get stronger through those lifts. Then you can do some other lifts as well, which I'll try and go on to a bit more with this golf fitness portion of the channel. Michael Hughes, most important exercise to increase distance. Don't really feel like there is a specific one in particular. Tom Hesling, exercise that will prevent injury. I mean, that's a very broad question. Injury where? Like, injury all over. There's not one exercise really that's going to prevent injury. I'd say what will prevent injury is stretching every now and again, doing lots of mobility before lifting, always being warm before you lift, warming up in the right way to actually play or hit balls. You see a lot of people getting injured on driving ranges and on golf courses because they'll just rock up and make swings. You got to go through your mobility stuff. You got to get warm, get the juices flowing. And by juices flowing, that's actually a real thing. There's synovial fluid that gets released in the membranes, right, which lubricates joints. And without that synovial fluid, which which gets produced or released through exercise, getting your heart rate up. All right, so without that, you're going to be stiff as a board and injuries occur. So I'd say just getting warmed up. There's not a specific exercise that to prevent all injury. It's not a miracle. Chris.Nell, nobody cares about fitness, mate. Well, these people do actually, so go yourself, all right? I'm joking. You're probably just pissing about. That's cool. That's all right, Chris. No worries, mate. The Rory Martin, tips to help involve legs in the golf swing. So this is more about swing dynamics, I would say. I don't really feel like there's anything in the gym that you can do to change your, well, there is obviously to change your swing dynamic, but if you're talking about actually the swing itself, I would say tips to help involve legs more is just load the floor more in the downswing. So the legs aren't going to be involved unless you really load as much weight as you can into the downswing, which is what you see Tiger do when he dips a bit and then he comes up off his feet. That's how you generate power, really. That's like the main source of power. But to be honest, your legs are going to be involved in the golf swing, aren't they, unless you chop them off, like you're standing on them. I hope this is helpful. Alfie Howlett, best gym exercise to help with long drive. Again, not one specific exercise, just get stronger throughout all the lifts. Ben Reynolds, 23, did you play in the Robo Cup? How the you know about the Robo Cup? This should not be a thing, right? My mate George Robinson, which is the guy you saw in a vlog at Dartmouth the other day, he's created a yearly competition called the Robo Cup. I hope this Ben guy's local, otherwise it's just ridiculous, right? And they got up to Celtic Manor. They did it actually last couple of days. I couldn't go in the end. Maybe it'll be a thing. Maybe next year we can go and film the Robo Cup and get it properly on the channel. Ben also asked, do you do stretching to become more flexible specifically for golf? I do. To be honest, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really do much stretching. I'm quite flexible and I've built my flexibility through performing lifts properly through the correct range of motion. To answer your question, no, but I do things properly in the gym, and I also do lots of mobility, so I'm flexible enough, I think. Lewis P, was the chiropractor any good on your lower back? So it wasn't actually my lower back, it's kind of like the midsection. Essentially what was happening was because I was a bit tight up here and a bit tight down here, right in the hips area, or lower spine. In fact, most of the pressure being applied when I was separating the hips and shoulders in the downswing, most of the pressure was being sent, it was actually just like a pain sensor being sent to the center spine, or center lower spine, that kind of area. I won't go into like the T2, T3 or that. So what we did was started to free up this area, did lots of like resetting and stuff and stretching, and it really helped. I was really surprised, and that was quite early on in the long drive career as such, and I thought, shit, like I may be in some trouble, but ended up just one session, it really helped, and then went back to see him. In fact, his name is here, I'll put it up. He's in Topsham, which is near Exeter, just down the road. Very good chiropractor, has also done his TPI, so go and see him if you're local. Dino79, why are you so angry at something on the floor? That's a good question. Just angry in general, to be honest, mate. Right, Joshua Everett, I feel like this is quite a broad question. Best exercise to improve lower back pain when golfing? This is a tough one, because lower back pain can be brought on from such a variety of factors. It could be that you have very tight hamstrings, which is, I feel like, quite a big cause for lower back pain. It could be just so many things. What I would say is stretch regularly, do some Supermans, which is an exercise. Just look up Supermans, right, which is the easiest exercise to do at home, which strengthens your lower back, and also stretch it out, and stretch out your hamstrings and your glutes as well. Just free up that area and then strengthen it by doing Supermans. That might help without, you know, like, without knowing you as a person. The Real Alan 1, warm-up exercises. So we're gonna go into, soon we're gonna go into a full mobility thing, which is gonna, mobility video for golf. Chad 1991, what exercises with resistance bands will help with distance, or do you have to use weights? I mean, there are like resistance band, there are definitely resistance band exercises that you can do to complement a decent weightlifting program, but I feel like weights are important as the core, and then maybe use some resistance band stuff around that. So I couldn't really be that helpful with that question. All right, now we got a good one here. I feel like this is a question that a lot of people have definitely asked in the past. So Ryan Wild 85, will strength training be detrimental to flexibility and your golf swing? So strength training in itself shouldn't be that detrimental to flexibility. Sometimes adding muscle mass can be detrimental to flexibility for sure, but if you are, you know, stretching and doing mobility, you can definitely stay flexible enough to, you know, swing a golf club. If you're just strength training, you shouldn't see that much gain in muscle. You can get like, that's where you get ridiculously strong guys, right, that are strong as hell, but they haven't actually added that much muscle mass because you're targeting your nervous system. But what I would say is, if you are looking to become a stronger athlete, it's definitely important to add muscle mass as well, because the bigger the muscle, the more strength potential it has. So it's a combination of the two, from strength to hypertrophy. I feel like you can like rotate those cycles, but you can definitely stay flexible enough by doing mobility and flexibility for sure. Look at Tiger Woods, for instance, in 2001. Guy was massive, and he definitely flexible enough to swing a golf club. In fact, 2001 was the best that Tiger Woods has ever swung a golf club. Like, remember when he won the Open at St Andrews by God knows how many, and he won the US Open at Pebble Beach by like 15 shots, like ridiculous, and he was built like a brick shithouse. Tom Stenner Evans, my mate again, what percentage strength training and what percentage power plyometric training would you recommend? So what I would say is the majority of your stuff should be strength based. Percentage wise, I would go by if you're doing 3 days a week of strength training, I would do 1 day a week of plyometrics. That's just from my experience. What I found when I went away from strength training and started adding in more power / plyometrics, my strength output decreased and I lost club head speed straight away. So you always want to be strength training and make sure your strength is kept as high as possible, and then add some plyometrics in as well once a week at the most. But what you got to remember with the power and plyometric stuff, it also taxes your central nervous system pretty hard as well. So you got to be careful not to overdo it, otherwise you overtrain and your strength will as a result go down. Try dang, hands down best exercise for, hang on, let me just see the proper message. Hands down the best exercise for increasing SW speed. There isn't hands down the best exercise for increasing swing speed. It's total, it's just getting strong all over. I feel like maybe a couple people just want the magic cure for increasing club head speed. If this one exercise works, we'll just nail it, nail it, nail it. That's not what you want to think. You want to build yourself up all over. K Stranger, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that properly. Best exercise for golf injury prevention. Again, I've answered that. Mohammed Madsa, sorry that your end of your name cuts off. What can I do to increase my club head speed? Just basically get stronger, get more mobile, and also do some overspeed training as well on the range, which is swinging a lighter club in, say, sets of 6. So you swing really hard 6 times, rest, do that like 4 times, do a combination of the lot of those, and then you will be faster, a lot faster even. That's just the starting point. Very broad question, could literally spend about half an hour to an hour talking about that. Son of Sam, top clothing brands you wear personally. Not going to answer that because it's not golf fitness related. Josh Lawrence, what players golf do you think are over and under what? Hang on. It's the annoying thing about this thing, right? You can only see, you can literally only see some of the questions. So what players do you think are over and underrated? Oh, that's not even this question. Why did I bother doing that? Charles de Blues, best Charles de Places, best exercise. Answered that. Ruben, one of my mates who has no idea about golf. My wood swing has been a little top heavy on the upper bunk. Any advice for this? Cheers, Ruben. Last one by Declan. Back is getting quite sore from carrying the bag. Any suggestions? It depends where it's hurting. If it's hurting your lower back, that'd be a bit alarming. Carrying a golf bag, it's probably hurting in your traps, and that's just like general muscular endurance. You've got to remember, when you're carrying a golf bag, if you're not like super strong and you haven't developed decent muscular endurance, it's gonna ache a bit. Like you're carrying weights. If you like walked into a gym and picked up a golf bag and walked around for 4 hours with rests in between, it's probably going to ache. So I would say just doing more of the same. But anyway, that's all the questions. I hope this has helped, and I hope this hasn't dragged on too long. I hope you've got something out of this. If you want to see more golf related stuff, I can definitely do more of this. Q&As and actually stuff in the gym. I started a golf fitness channel. And I did a few videos on it, but I just realized it was so hard to upload a video a day on this channel when I'm also a full-time PT as well. Trying to upload to another channel is pretty much impossible. So I'm going to add in some of the golf fitness stuff on this channel. So this is going to be the core, everything's going on this channel. If you want to see more, let me know what ideas you have in the comment section and I'll try and answer them. But as always, thanks for watching, and we will be back on the golf course soon for some vlogs.